The sky had been wrong all day. Dennis. Davis noticed at first around noon. Strange yellow tint to the light, the kind that made everything look faded and unreal. The wind had a voice, too. Not its usual whisper through the prairie grass, but something deeper, meaner. Like a predator circling just out of sight. By 3 o'clock, the birds had gone silent. By 4, the air itself felt heavy, pressing down with a weight that made his chest tight. He stood in the doorway of his house, watching darkness gather on the western horizon. Not the soft purple of evening, but an angry bruise spreading across the sky. Clouds rowing and building into towers that seemed to touch heaven itself. Lightning flickered inside them, silent and distant, illuminating the belly of the storm in shades of green and gray. Dennis had lived on this land for 53 years, and he knew what a storm like this could mean. He also knew that a storm was the least of his problems. On the kitchen table behind him sat a foreclosure notice, 30 days to pay $47,000 or lose everything. The ranch was dying, and no amount of rain could save it now. But something else troubled him today, something he couldn't quite name. For the past week, he'd had the unsettling feeling of being watched. Twice, he'd seen a dark truck parked on the county road, just sitting there, engine off. When he'd driven closer, it had pulled away, and yesterday he'd found fresh tire tracks near the old barn, the one his great-grandfather had built, the one nobody ever visited anymore. In the corral, one figure moved with purpose and strength. Bolt, a sorrel gellying with a white blaze down his face, tossed his head and watched Dennis with dark, knowing eyes. That horse had been with him through everything. Through his father's death, through the drought that killed his crops, through the loans that piled up like stones on a grave. Some men might have sold a horse to buy time. Dennis never considered it, not for a second. What Dennis didn't know was that everything was about to change. The storm gathering on the horizon carried more than rain and thunder. It carried a secret buried for over a century, waiting in the darkness beneath his boots. And it would take a terrified horse, a violent night, and 4 hooves crashing through rotted wood to uncover what had been hidden all along. Before we continue, if you believe in the unbreakable bond between a man and his horse, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stories like Dennis and Bolt's deserve to be heard, and your support keeps these tales of loyalty alive. Now, let's see how one thunderstorm changed everything. Dennis was 53 years old, but felt 70. His hands were calloused from work that no longer paid. His back ached from lifting fence posts that enclosed nothing, and his heart carried a weight no medicine could cure. His wife, Linda, had passed 4 years ago from cancer. His son, James, had moved to Denver for work, sending money when he could, but it was never enough. The bank didn't care about good intentions or hard luck stories. They cared about numbers, and Dennis's numbers had run out. The letter said he had 30 days. 30 days to come up with $47,000 or lose the ranch that had been in the Davis family for 4 generations. His great-grandfather had claimed this land in 1889, built the original homestead with his own hands, raised cattle and children in equal measure. Dennis's father had expanded it, weathered the Dust Bowl years, fought through recessions, and now Dennis, the last of the line, was going to be the one who lost it all. He pulled on his work boots and walked outside. The October air carried a chill, and clouds gathered on the horizon like bruises forming on skin. Bolt nickered when he saw Dennis approach, ears forward, hooves shifting in anticipation. "Hey there, buddy," Dennis said, running a hand down the horse's warm neck. "Just you and me now, huh?" As his hand moved across Bolt's shoulder, his fingers brushed over something he'd never paid much attention to before, a faded brand mark almost invisible under the sorrel coat. Dennis had always assumed it was from the breeder he'd bought Bolt's dam from 12 years ago. But today, with the strange light and his nerves on edge, he looked closer. The mark wasn't a ranch brand. It was a symbol. 3 interlocking circles with what looked like an arrow through them. Old, faded, almost to nothing, but definitely there. Strange. Bolt had been born on this ranch. Where had that mark come from? Bolt pushed his nose into Dennis's chest, a gesture of affection the horse had done since he was a colt. Dennis had raised Bolt from birth, staying up through a difficult foaling, bottle feeding him when his mother rejected him. The bond between them ran deeper than ownership. It was family. Dennis had been offered $3,000 for Bolt last month by a rancher 2 counties over. $3,000 would have bought him a few more weeks, maybe a month. He told the man no, without hesitation. Selling Bolt would be like selling his own soul. He saddled the gelding and rode out across his property, taking inventory of what would soon belong to someone else. The land rolled in gentle hills covered in prairie grass gone brown from the dry season. A creek ran along the western boundary, though it barely trickled now. In the distance, the old barn stood near the northern fence line, a structure his great-grandfather had built, ancient and leaning, and used for decades except for storing junk and memories. As they rode, Dennis felt the wind picking up. The clouds were moving faster now, darker, pregnant with rain. He should head back, secure what needed securing, but something drew his eye to the old barn. Those tire tracks had been fresh yesterday. Who would drive all the way out here to look at an abandoned building? Bolt's ears swiveled back, listening to something Dennis couldn't hear. The horse's stride changed, became alert, cautious. Dennis trusted Bolt's instincts. The gelding had saved him from rattlesnakes, warned him of coyotes, sensed dangers before they materialized. If Bolt was nervous, there was reason. Thunder rumbled in the distance, low and ominous. The first drops of rain began to fall, fat and cold. Dennis turned Bolt toward home, giving him his head. The horse needed no encouragement. He moved into a steady lope, covering ground with smooth efficiency. By the time they reached the ranch, the storm had arrived in earnest. Rain fell in sheets, wind howling through the fence posts like a living thing. Lightning Split the sky and thunder followed so. Close it rattled Dennis's bones. He unsaddled Bolt quickly in the small stable attached to the house, rubbing him down with trembling hands. As he worked, something caught his eye. A piece of paper wedged under the stable door, protected from the rain. Dennis picked it up. It was old, yellowed, torn at one edge. Written in faded pencil were 3 words. They know. Leave. Dennis's blood ran cold. He looked around. Rain obscuring everything beyond. 20 feet. Someone had been here recently. During the storm or just before it. You're safe here, boy, Dennis said to Bolt, though the words felt hollow. Safe from the storm, maybe. But safe from whoever was leaving cryptic warnings. He wasn't sure. Dennis secured the stable door and ran for the house. Rain soaking through his jacket in seconds. Inside, he stripped off wet clothes and pulled on dry ones, then stood at the window, watching the storm rage. Lightning illuminated the landscape in stark white flashes. The old barn in the north field stood silhouetted against the chaos. He thought again of the mysterious tire tracks, the dark truck watching from the road, and now this note. They know. What and who were they? His eyes fell on Linda's old journal, sitting on the shelf where he'd placed it after her death, unable to throw it away, but unable to read it either. 4 years and he'd never opened it. The grief had been too raw. But now, with the storm raging and fear creeping up his spine, something compelled him. He took down the journal and opened it to a random page. Linda's familiar handwriting made his throat tighten. June 12, Dennis thinks I'm crazy, but I swear there's something about the old barn. When I ride past it on Bolt's mother, she always acts strange, ears forward. Almost like she's listening. And sometimes late at night, I dream about gold coins scattered in dirt. It's always the same dream. I've never told Dennis. He has enough to worry about. Dennis's hand shook as he flipped to another entry. September 3rd. I researched the property history today at the county records office. Our land was purchased by Dennis's great-grandfather in 1889, but before that, it was unclaimed territory. Wild land. I found an old newspaper article about a train robbery in 1883. The Copper Valley robbery. Over $200,000 in gold stolen, never recovered. Copper Valley, that's our road. Is that a coincidence? I don't think I'll tell Dennis. He'll think the cancer has made me delusional. Dennis stared at the words, his heart hammering. Linda had known something or suspected something, and she'd never told him. He flipped through more pages, finding sketches she'd made. The symbol of 3 interlocking circles with an arrow. The same symbol branded on Bolt. October 1st. I saw the mark on the mayor today while grooming her. The same symbol from the old newspaper article, the gang's brand. They marked their horses with it. How did our horse get this mark? Her bloodline goes back generations on this property. Unless one of the original gang horses escaped and bred. with wild mustangs and that bloodline. Survived. It sounds insane, but Bolt carries the mark, too. I checked. He was born with it. Dennis's mind reeled. The symbol connected Bolt to a gang of train robbers from 140 years ago. That was impossible. Except Linda had documented it, researched it, believed it. The last entry he found was dated 3 weeks before she died. December 10th. I'm too weak to write anymore, but I made Dennis promise he'll never sell Bolt no matter what. I think that horse is meant to be here. I think he knows something. Carries something in his blood. Maybe I'm dying, and my mind is playing tricks. Or maybe some mysteries are meant to be solved by those who come after us. If you're reading this, Dennis, and I hope someday you do, trust Bolt. Trust the land. There's more here than meets the eye. Hours passed. The storm didn't weaken. If anything, it intensified. Dennis made coffee he didn't drink and tried to make sense of Linda's journal. The threatening note, the strange visitors. His mind kept circling back to the same thought. Someone else knew about the treasure or suspected it existed, and they were willing to trespass to threaten to get to it first. Around midnight, a sound cut through the storm's fury. A scream high-pitched, terrified, distinctly equine. Bolt. Dennis's heart seized. He grabbed his coat and flashlight and ran into the storm. Rain blinded him. Wind pushed him sideways, but he fought his way to the stable. The door hung open, swinging wildly. Inside, Bolt's stall was empty. Bolt! Dennis shouted, panic rising in his throat. Bolt! Another scream answered, distant, coming from the north, from the direction of the old barn. Dennis ran, boots splashing through mud, flashlight beam cutting uselessly through the rain. Lightning flashed, and in that brief illumination, he saw Bolt's silhouette near the old barn, rearing, panicked. But he also saw something else, a figure, human-shaped, running from the barn toward the fence line. Someone had been there. Someone had spooked his horse. I'm coming, boy. Hold on. He reached the barn just as another lightning strike split the sky. Thunder detonating so close Dennis felt it in his chest. Bolt was terrified. Eyes rolling white, spinning in tight circles near the barn's entrance. The door must have come open in the wind. And Bolt, spooked by the storm, or by whoever had been lurking, had run into the old structure, seeking shelter. Dennis grabbed Bolt's halter, speaking in soothing tones that were lost in the wind. Easy, easy now. I've got you. We're going home. But Bolt was beyond calming. Another crash of thunder and lightning together, and the horse reared violently. Dennis held on, pulled sideways, his boots slipping in mud. Bolt came down hard, then reared again. And this time his hooves crashed through something. The sound was wrong. Not the thud of hooves on dirt, but the crack and splinter of breaking wood. Bolt lurched sideways, and the ground beneath him gave way. Dennis barely had time to release the halter before the floor of the barn collapsed inward with a groaning roar. Bolt screamed again. plunging down into darkness, and Dennis lunged forward, heart-stopping. Bolt! He scrambled to the edge of the hole, shining his flashlight down. The barn's floor had given way, revealing what looked like an old root cellar or basement, something Dennis hadn't known existed. Bolt thrashed below, legs scrambling, but the drop wasn't deep. Maybe 8 feet. The horse was panicked, but appeared unheard. "Hold on, buddy. Stay still. I'm coming." Down. Dennis lowered himself through the broken floor, landing hard on packed dirt below. His flashlight swept the space, and what he saw made his breath catch. The cellar was larger than he expected, walls shored up with old timber, but it wasn't empty. Against the far wall sat 3 wooden chests, old and weathered, but intact and scattered across the dirt floor. Gleaming in his flashlight beam were dozens of gold coins. But that wasn't all. On the wall, carved deep into the timber, was the symbol, 3 interlocking circles with an arrow through them, and beneath it, words etched in crude letters. Garrett's cash, 1883. May God forgive us. Dennis stood frozen, brain struggling to process what he was seeing. William Garrett, the train robber Linda had written about. This was his treasure, his hiding place. And somehow Linda had suspected it was here all along. Bolt had calmed now, standing still in the corner, sides heaving, but eyes no longer wild. Dennis approached the chest slowly, as if they might vanish. He knelt beside the nearest one and lifted the lid. It opened with a creak of ancient hinges. Inside, packed tight, were more gold coins, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. And beneath them, stacks of old paper currency, faded but preserved in the dry cellar. Dennis's hand shook as he picked up a coin. It was heavy, genuine, stamped with a date. 1883. The paper currency bore the same era. Bills from banks that no longer existed. Denominations that seemed impossibly large. He checked the other chests, more of the same. Gold coins, paper money. Even some jewelry, pocket watches, gold chains, items from another age. This wasn't just money. This was the legendary Copper Valley treasure. But then his flashlight caught something else. Tucked into a crevice between 2 chests was a leather envelope sealed with wax. Dennis pulled it free carefully. The leather was dry but intact. He broke the seal and pulled out a folded letter, the paper brittle with age. The handwriting was elegant but hurried. To whoever finds this, my name is William Garrett, and I am a dead man. By the time you read this, the law will have caught up to me, or my own gang will have turned on me. The money in these chests was taken from a Union Pacific train on July 14, 1883. It was wrong. All of it was wrong. But this is not all I hid. There is more, much more, buried in 3 other locations across this territory. I cannot retrieve it now. The law is too close. Use the map on the back of this letter. The symbols match the brand we put on our horses. Follow the circles. Find the arrow. What lies beneath will make this cash look like pocket change. May God have mercy on my soul. W.G. August 1883. Dennis flipped the letter over with trembling hands. On the back was a hand-drawn map. Crude but clear. 3 circles drawn at different points, each with an arrow pointing in a specific direction. And in the center, where all 3 arrows met, was an X. The X was marked right at the location of what was now his house. Dennis's mind spun. There was more treasure, possibly millions more, buried somewhere on his property. And Linda had been right. Bolt, with his ancestral brand, was somehow connected to all of this. But someone else knew. The dark truck, the mysterious visitor, the threatening note. Someone was searching for this, and they knew. Dennis's land held secrets. Bolt snorted softly behind him, and Dennis turned. The horse stood calm now, watching him with those dark, intelligent eyes. If Bolt hadn't panicked, hadn't run into this barn, hadn't crashed through that rotted floor, Dennis would never have known. He would have lost the ranch in 30 days. And whoever bought the property would have demolished this old barn eventually and found the treasure themselves. "You did it, boy," Dennis whispered, voice choked with emotion. "You found it, just like Linda knew you would. You saved us." He climbed out of the cellar and fashioned a ramp from old boards, coaxing Bolt up and out. Together, they returned to the stable, the storm still raging, but meaning nothing now. Dennis secured Bolt, gave him extra feed, and a thorough check for injuries, finding nothing but minor scrapes. "You're a miracle, Bolt. Linda was right about you." The horse munched hay peacefully, the terror of the storm already forgotten. Dennis returned to the barn, with tarps and boards covering the hole as best he could in the storm. He couldn't leave it exposed, couldn't risk someone seeing it. When the rain finally eased before dawn, he stood in the ruined barn, staring at the covered cellar, and felt the weight of questions pressing in. 3 more caches, possibly millions more in gold. And someone else hunting for it. Then his phone rang. The bank manager. "Mr. Davis, I wanted to personally remind you that your deadline is approaching. I haven't received any communication from you about your intentions." Dennis looked at the foreclosure notice, then at the map. The journal, the letter from a dead outlaw, promising riches beyond imagination. "I'll have your money," Dennis said, voice steady. "All of it. I'll pay off the entire loan." Silence on the other end. Then, "Mr. Davis, I appreciate your optimism, but I'll be in touch soon with specifics. Thank you for the call." He hung up, heart pounding. He just committed to something he wasn't sure he could deliver, but he had to try. He had to fight. Dennis spent the rest of the morning studying the map and Linda's journal. She'd been so close to the truth. She'd researched the robbery, found the connection to Bolt's brand, even suspected the barn held secrets. But she'd died before she could pursue it further. Now it was up to him to finish what she'd started. Around noon, as he was preparing to drive into town to see a lawyer, he heard a vehicle Approaching. He looked out the window. And tensed. It was a dusty pickup truck. Old and battered, not the dark sedan from before. An elderly man climbed out. Slowly, moving with the careful deliberation of someone whose body had betrayed him with age. Dennis stepped onto the porch, hand resting near his shotgun just in case. "Mr. Davis," the old man called, his voice was rough, weathered as old leather. "Name's Frank Hollis. I was wondering if we could talk a moment." "About what?" Frank climbed the porch steps slowly, breathing hard. Up close, Dennis could see he was in his 80s at least, face deeply lined, eyes clouded with cataracts. But those eyes held a sharpness that age hadn't dulled. "About what you found in your barn last night," Frank said quietly. Dennis's hand moved closer to the shotgun. "I don't know what you're talking about, son. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here because my grandfather was William Garrett's brother. I'm here because my family has been looking for that treasure for 5 generations. And I'm here to warn you that you're not the only one searching." Dennis studied the old man, looking for deception, for threat, but all he saw was exhaustion. And something that looked like relief. "You better come inside," Dennis said. Finally, they sat at the kitchen table. And Frank told his story. His grandfather had been Charles Garrett, William's younger brother, who'd known about the train robbery but refused to participate. When William was killed, Charles had received a letter, the same kind of letter Dennis had found, with cryptic clues about hidden caches. Charles had searched for years, but never found anything. "My grandfather spent his whole life looking," Frank said. "Passed the obsession to my father, who passed it to me. I've been searching for 60 years, Mr. Davis. And about a month ago, I narrowed it down to 3 properties, yours being the most likely. I drove by a few times trying to work up the courage to knock on your door and ask if I could search. But I'm old and tired and I don't have much time left." "The dark truck," Dennis said. "That was you?" "No, sir. That's what I'm here to warn you about. There's a man named Cole Brennan, a treasure hunter out of Denver. He's got resources, connections, and he's ruthless. Somehow he got wind of the Garrett treasure resurfacing. I don't know how, but he's been watching your place, too. He's the one who left you that note. They know. Leave," Dennis said. Frank nodded grimly. "He wants you gone so he can tear this place apart. Looking for it. Now that you found the first cache, hell no. Word spreads fast in the treasure hunting community. You need to be careful, Mr. Davis. Cole doesn't play by rules." Dennis absorbed this, fear and anger wearing in his chest. "What do you want from me, Mr. Frank?" The old man sighed, pulling out a faded photograph from his wallet. It showed a young woman smiling, holding a baby. "My great-great-aunt. She was on that train in 1883. Lost her entire savings in the robbery. Money she needed to pay for her husband's medical care. He died because she couldn't afford treatment. That money destroyed lives. Mr. Davis, my Uncle William destroyed lives. Frank's eyes were wet. I don't want the treasure. I just want to know. It's going to do some good this time. That it'll help someone instead of hurt them. If you found it, if it saves your ranch, then maybe it's finally making up for the evil it caused. Dennis felt his throat tighten. He thought of Linda's words in her journal about mysteries meant to be solved by those who came after. He thought of Bolt standing calmly in the cellar, as if he'd known all along what his purpose was. Your family suffered because of what was stolen, Dennis said quietly. If this money is real, if I can claim it legally, I'll make sure your great-great aunt's descendants get compensation. It's the right thing to do. Frank's face crumpled with emotion. Thank you, son. That's all I ever wanted, for it to be made right. Before Frank left, he gave Dennis one more warning. Cole Brennan knows about the map. He's got connections to black market dealers who've seen Garrett's letter. There were apparently multiple copies. He knows there's more treasure out there, and he'll do whatever it takes to find it. Watch your back, Mr. Davis, and watch that horse of yours. Men like Cole will hurt anything that stands in their way. After Frank left, Dennis stood on his porch, looking across his land with new eyes. Somewhere beneath his feet lay possibly millions in gold coins. But standing between him and that treasure was a ruthless treasure hunter. Legal complications that could take years to resolve, and the ticking clock of his foreclosure deadline. He walked to the stable where Bolt stood, ears forward, watching him approach. Linda knew, Dennis said softly, running his hand along Bolt's neck, feeling the faded brand beneath his palm. She knew you were special. She knew this land held secrets, and somehow you found them. Just like she believed you would. Bolt nickered low, pressing his forehead against Dennis's chest. But we've got trouble coming, boy, and I need your help. If there's more treasure down there, he gestured toward the house, then you and I are going to find it together before anyone else does. That afternoon, while the storm had passed and weak sunlight struggled through lingering clouds, Dennis gathered tools. A flashlight, a shovel, a pry bar. He opened the access panel to his crawl space, something he hadn't done in maybe a decade, and peered into the darkness below his house. The smell of damp earth and mold hit him immediately. Spiderwebs draped the support beams like gray curtains. But there, in the center of the dirt floor, was something that didn't belong. A stone, flat and rectangular, too perfectly placed to be natural, and carved into its surface, barely visible under decades of dirt, was the symbol. 3 interlocking circles, an arrow through them. Dennis's heart hammered as he squeezed through the narrow opening and crawled toward the stone on his belly. His hands shook as he brushed away dirt, revealing more of the carving. And around the edges of the stone, he could see gaps. This wasn't set into the ground. It was covering something. He wedged the prior under the stone's edge and heaved. It shifted with a grinding sound, then lifted. Dennis pushed it aside and aimed his flashlight into the darkness below. Another cellar deeper than the one under the barn, and stacked inside, gleaming in his flashlight beam, were more chests. Many more, at least 10, maybe 12, all wood and iron, all sealed tight. Dennis stared into the darkness, barely breathing. William Garrett had told the truth. This was the main cache. The barn had just been a drop in the bucket compared to what lay beneath Dennis's house. But he couldn't move the chests alone. They'd be too heavy, and the crawl space was too tight. He'd need help. Professional help. Legal help. As he crawled back out of the crawl space and stood in his kitchen, dirt covering his clothes, Dennis heard a vehicle approaching again. His stomach dropped. Through the window, he saw the dark sedan, the one Frank had warned him about. A man stepped out, tall and lean, dressed in expensive outdoor gear that looked more suited for a photo shoot than actual work. His smile was practiced predatory. "Mr. Davis," he called, approaching the porch with confident strides. "My name is Cole Brennan. I think we have something to discuss." Dennis stepped onto the porch, placing himself between this man and his home, his horse, his treasure. "I don't think we have anything to talk about." Cole's smile widened, but his eyes stayed cold. "Oh, I think we do. You found something last night. Something that belongs to a lot of people. I'm here to make sure you understand the complications you're facing and to offer you a very generous partnership. Get off my property." Cole didn't move. "Mr. Davis, I've spent 15 years researching the Garrett treasure. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know about the map, the multiple caches, the symbols. I know your horse carries the gang's brand, which means I can make a legal claim that your animal is connected to stolen property. I've got lawyers ready to tie you up in court for years." Or his smile turned almost friendly. "You can accept my offer. 60 of 40. Split. You keep 40%, I take 60. Everyone wins." Dennis felt rage building in his chest. "You're not taking anything from me, and you're definitely not touching my horse. Now get off my land before I call the sheriff." Cole's expression hardened. "You're making a mistake, Mr. Davis. A very expensive mistake. I'll be back, and next time I won't be offering partnership. I'll be filing legal claims. That will make your head spin." He walked back to his sedan and drove off, leaving Dennis trembling with anger and fear. That evening, as darkness fell over the ranch, Dennis sat at his table with Linda's journal, Garrett's letter, the map, and a new notebook where he'd started documenting everything. The mystery had deepened, and so had the danger. Someone knocked on his door. Dennis grabbed his shotgun, then relaxed slightly when he saw it was Elijah Crane, the lawyer he'd planned to visit tomorrow. "Heard you had some excitement," Elijah said, stepping inside. "Frank Hollis called me, told me everything, said you need legal help. And you need it now. For the next 3 hours, Dennis told Elijah everything. The storm, the barn, the treasure. Linda's journal, Bolt's brand, the map. The second cache, Cole Brennan's threats. When he finished, Elijah sat back. Overwhelmed but focused. This is the most complex case I've ever heard, Elijah said slowly. But here's what we're going to do. First, we document everything. Photos, measurements, chain of custody. Second, we file claims with the county. Immediately. Both caches are on your property. You discovered them. You have rights. Third, we get the treasure authenticated and establish its connection to the 1883 robbery. Fourth, we prepare for legal challenges. Because they're coming. Cole Brennan will file claims. The state might try to claim historical significance. Descendants of robbery victims may surface. It's going to be a war, Dennis. I know, Dennis said. But I'm ready to fight. Good, because we're also going to be proactive. We'll reach out to verified descendants of robbery victims and offer settlements before anyone sues. We'll donate key historical pieces to museums. We'll do everything right. Everything clean. So, when the vulture circle were standing on solid legal ground. Over the next few days, Dennis and Elijah worked around the clock. They photographed and cataloged the barn cellar. They carefully extracted several chests from beneath the house. A process that took hours of careful maneuvering. They hired security guards to watch the property. They contacted experts to authenticate the treasure. Lawrence, the historical currency specialist, arrived and spent 2 days examining everything. When he emerged, he looked shocked. Mr. Davis, what you have here is unprecedented. The barn cache alone is worth approximately $2 million. But what's under your house? He paused, shaking his head. That's worth at least 8 to 10 million, possibly more. This is the largest treasure trove found in American history in decades. Dennis felt dizzy. $10 million. It was incomprehensible. But Elijah kept him grounded. Don't spend it yet. We've got legal battles ahead. Cole Brennan has already filed 3 different claims: property rights, historical salvage rights, and an absolutely insane claim that Bolt belongs to him as a descendant of outlaw horses. That last one won't hold up, but it shows how desperate he is. Through it all, Bolt remained Dennis's constant. Every evening, Dennis would spend an hour with the horse, grooming him, talking to him, finding strength in the steady warmth of the animal that had saved everything. Linda knew you were special, Dennis would say. She saw something in you that I was too worried about bills to notice. But you knew, didn't you? You knew all along what was down there. One night, as Dennis sat in the stable reading Linda's journal by lantern light, he found a passage he'd missed before. March 15th. I had the dream again last night, the one about gold coins. But this time, Bolt was in it. He was standing in our living room, pawing at the floor. And when I looked down, the floor was transparent. I could see through it into darkness filled with gold. It felt so real, Dennis. When I Woke up, I went downstairs and stood in the living room, right where Bolt had been pawing in the dream. The floorboards felt different under my feet. Hollow almost. Or maybe I'm just losing my mind to this cancer. Maybe I'm seeing treasures that don't exist. Because I can't bear to leave you with nothing. But I don't think I'm crazy. I think Bolt is trying to tell me something. And I think when I'm gone, he'll tell you, too. Dennis's eyes blurred with tears. Linda had dreamed it. She'd felt it. And now Bolt had led him to exactly what she'd seen. You were right, sweetheart, he whispered to the empty air. About all of it. As days turned into weeks, the legal battles intensified. Cole Brennan hired aggressive lawyers. The state filed a claim for historical preservation. A woman emerged, claiming to be descended from a train passenger and demanding restitution. News media descended on the ranch. Helicopters circling overhead, reporters camping at the property line. But Elijah was prepared. He'd filed all the proper documentation. He'd offered fair settlements to verified descendants. He'd donated significant historical pieces to the State Museum. And most importantly, he'd established that Dennis had discovered the treasure legally on his own property. Through pure chance, or perhaps through a horse that carried the genetic memory of outlaws in his blood. The court proceedings stretched over months. Dennis used some of the treasure's value to pay off his foreclosure. Elijah arranged for a loan against the treasure's worth while the legal battles continued. The bank got their $47,000. The ranch was safe, but the mystery deepened when during excavation of the barn cellar for preservation, workers found something else. Hidden behind one of the timber supports was another letter. This one from Charles Garrett, William's brother. May 1884, I found my brother's cash. I know I should turn it in, but our family has lost everything because of William's crimes. Our name is Mud. Our ranch was seized. I took 3 bags of gold coins and rewrite them in different locations, one for each of my children, so they'd have something when I'm gone. I left the rest where William hid it. Let it rot there. Payment for his sins. The 3 bags I took are buried at the lightning-struck oak, the old well, and the stone marker. May God forgive me for profiting from my brother's evil. Dennis stared at the letter with Garrett's map, the 3 circles. Charles had found some of William's treasure and redistributed it, which meant there were 3 more smaller caches still hidden on Dennis's property. It never ends, Dennis told Bolt that evening. Every time we think we found it all, there's more. But he also knew he didn't need more. What they'd found was already enough to save the ranch, secure his future, and help the descendants of those who'd been hurt by the original crime. In the end, after months of legal wrangling, the court ruled in Dennis's favor. The treasure belonged to him, minus settlements paid to 3 verified descendants of robbery victims, a total of $200,000, which Dennis paid gladly. Cole Brennan's claims were dismissed as frivolous. The state received key historical pieces for their museum, and Dennis was left with approximately $7.5 million after all. Debts, fees, settlements, and donations. The first thing Dennis did was establish a trust for the ranch. It would never face bankruptcy again. The second thing was to create a foundation in Linda's name to help families facing medical debt, the same kind of debt that had killed Frank Hollis's great-great-uncle. The third thing was to build Bolt, the finest stable in 3 counties with heated floors, automatic feeders, and a paddock that stretched for acres. You earned this, buddy, Dennis said, watching Bolt explore his new home. You saved us all. James drove up from Denver for the celebration. Father and son stood together on the porch, watching the sun set over hills that would remain in the Davis family for generations to come. Mom would be proud, James said. She knew, Dennis replied, holding Linda's journal. She knew all along. She just couldn't find it herself. She had to leave it for Bolt to show us. That night, Dennis returned to the stable one last time. He showed Bolt the map, the letters, all the pieces of the mystery that had unfolded. Frank thinks there might still be 3 more caches out there, Dennis said. Charles Garrett's bags of gold. You want to help me look for them? Bolt's ears pricked forward, and for just a moment Dennis could swear the horse understood every word. Or maybe we'll just let those stay buried, Dennis continued, scratching behind Bolt's ears. We don't need them. We've got enough. And some mysteries are worth keeping. The horse nickered softly, leaning into Dennis's touch. As Dennis walked back to his house that night, he looked up at the stars. The same stars that had shone down on William Garrett as he'd buried stolen gold. On Linda as she dreamed of treasures she'd never find. On a terrified horse crashing through a rotted floor in a storm. Thank you, Dennis whispered to whatever force had aligned all those moments perfectly. For Linda's dreams. For Bolt's courage, for keeping the secret until the time was right. The ranch was quiet, peaceful. No more threats, no more vultures, just a man, his horse, and land that had finally given back what it had held for over a century. Inside the house, warm and secure and paid for, Dennis opened Linda's journal. One last time. On the very last page, written in shaky handwriting from her final days, was one sentence. When the storm comes, trust Bolt to find the light. She'd known, somehow she'd known everything. If you enjoyed this story, then please subscribe for more incredible stories of horses and the humans who love them are waiting for you. Hit that bell icon, because every day we bring you tales that prove the bond between horse and rider is something truly special. Until next time, keep believing in miracles.